My name is Richard Cewden, and I work for TRL, the UK's Transport Research Laboratory. And I'm going to talk about London's Smart Mobility Living Lab, CAM testing, simulating and innovating in the real world. TRL was founded in 1933, and we've been looking at innovation within transport ever since then. Indeed, in the 1950s, we had our first driverless vehicle that was going around the TRL track at that time at speeds of perhaps 2 miles per hour. And many other studies have been undertaken since then, looking at automation transport, connected transport, and really looking to improve the safety on our roads. However, in 2016, the journey for the London Smart Mobility Living Lab really started. And the video you've just seen was of the Gateway project. Gateway was Europe's first mass public participation trials within automated vehicles. We learnt lots from engaging with members of the public to understand their issues and what benefits they could get from this technology. We moved people around and we moved groceries to their doorsteps. We looked at automated parking. But throughout that trial, what was clear was that this was just one trial. And to think about the mobility challenges, and if I put that in the context of TRL's vision, which is for a clean, efficient transport that is safe, reliable and accessible for everyone, TRL could see then that we needed to create a testbed, a validated testbed in the heart of London for the development and evaluation of the next generation of mobility systems, not just pods, as we were able to successfully do for Gateway. Others shared this vision. Cisco, Transport for London, Cubic, DG Cities, Loughborough University, the London Legacy Development Corporation. We all thought of a world where we would have decarbonised transport, where nobody would die or be seriously injured on our roads, where transport would be accessible to everybody in a democratised fashion. So with this high aim, with this vision, we set about building as a collaborative team, London Smart Mobility Living Lab. And I'm delighted to say that we delivered everything, exactly as we said we would do. In September this year, we launched, and from now onwards, TRL will be operating London Smart Mobility Living Lab for at least the next 10 years. TRL has an interesting business model. Due to our ownership and governance, we're a non-profit distributing company. We reinvest in transport for the furtherance of knowledge to make sure that those high goals, those aims that I set out can be reached, can be realised. And what that means for the London's Living Lab is we'll be continuing to invest in the equipment on the ground, in the vehicles, in the people who work at the facility, in the surrounding businesses where necessary and appropriate, to help the local economy, to work with local educators and academic providers, as well as businesses at an international level to help achieve what will be a world challenge. Now, why London? It's Europe's only megacity, and it has some of the most complex and challenging roads there are around. By using London, we're confident that if solutions work in here, they'll work anywhere. Massive international profile. We have local authorities, we have Transport for London, we have the people on the ground who support us, who share this vision, who can understand that by doing these things well and in a controlled way now, we can make the future better. We have the right infrastructure that we're going to keep developing, and we have a really qualified and expert team who understand all parts of human behaviour research, vehicle engineering through to type approval at international levels, safety cases, the environmental challenges from vehicle charging, and much more. We bring everything. So SMLL is 2 locations. The first is around the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park, relatively modern infrastructure, and therefore quite easy, if I'm allowed to use that word, for an automated vehicle to navigate in terms of the roads, the lines, the space available. And then if we go to Greenwich, where we have the majority of our instrumented roads, that's a lot more complicated, a lot more older in terms of the infrastructure and the roads and the environment, a lot more congested, a lot more challenges for human drivers, let alone automated vehicles. The equipment we've put into the infrastructure, high definition cameras, built-in analytics, so we can do an awful lot of calculation based on what's happening, what behavior is happening on the roads. 4G comms, soon to be 5G, wireless access points, lots of roadside cabinets, lots of vehicle to infrastructure communication. This slide tries to give some statistics. There's 24 kilometers of pretty much fully instrumented routes. There's 20 kilometers of private cable network, fiber network, 32 V2X sites. You get the idea. Over 270 cameras. We have 2 automated vehicles. We chose the Nissan because it can operate for a good ride-share facility because of the 7 seats. It can also double up as a cargo vehicle. We really see lots of the challenges around delivering goods as much as moving people around. We've worked with Street Drone for the drive-by-wire system, AutoWare, so it's an open source platform. And people can now come along and they can add their own sensors to these vehicles. They can get access to the software. They can put their own software into that system, and they can get access to all of that data. That's all linked then to the infrastructure and all comes to our control room. We've already used these vehicles. They've been on the road for public trials in December 2019. Let me talk a little bit about the digital twin. All 24 kilometers of our routes have gone into a digital model. We've used LiDAR scans to generate a very, very accurate, as the video is now showing, representation of SMLL roads. So we can go from real camera views to a digital view, and we can validate between those. Within the model, the BIM part of the model includes SML assets. So we know where our cameras are. We've got all the metadata in as to what lamppost, where the power's to it, how all of that works, along with other asset information. We can put in traffic data, other road user data. As the video is now showing, we can put a vehicle within the model and drive the vehicle. We can show what the vehicle could communicate with. We could imagine what the vehicle could see. We could overlay sensors onto that vehicle and see how the vehicle would understand its environment. By understanding what the vehicle sees of its environment, and now we're going to go to perhaps how the vehicle would see white lines on the road, we're able then to run the vehicle in that virtual environment, inject scenarios, be that of a traffic or incidents, and see how well the vehicle would or wouldn't respond to those stimuli within the model. That way we can do an awful lot of work before any vehicles ever get into the real world and testing. Now, the facilities, I don't have time to do this justice, so apologies. Our HQ's in Woolwich. We've got lots of space to work on vehicles. Very, very proud of our data center, which allows an awful lot of data analytics, merges a lot of data that already exists in terms of transport flows with the data that people can get through trials. We've got control room, so you can monitor trials, lots of office space, a whole range of facilities. The same is true of our sister facilities at Plexal. This is the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. It's where we have our second control room. The second control room allows you to run multiple trials effectively. So we're not limited, we're very agile. And a real advantage of being at Plexal is being surrounded by similar organizations, similar innovation groups. Okay, what can you do with SMLL? You can test. You can bring equipment to the roadside and see how well it collects data. You can use our equipment to see how well your vehicle or your service is performing. You can imagine a world for making charging more efficient. You can test pretty much whatever you like. You can simulate, and I've spent quite a lot of time on this showing what you can do in the virtual model, but I haven't mentioned that TRL has a truck simulator. We have a car simulator. You can go and use Loughborough University's Human Factors Lab and think about how you can instrument human beings. And finally, you can join our innovation community. SMLL is very, very proud to be able to offer this as a service. So large multinationals to SMEs to all sorts of academics can come together and get real insights and access to the experts. And they can use this as a network for collaborative research. I was asked to talk about what key lessons have we learned. And I think what's important to say here is the key lessons really for us now we're operating. How can we demonstrate to people who want to test automated connected systems, new technologies, how by working with us, they can get to their end goal, which is to deploy their services, their products, their vehicles, whatever it may be, quicker, cheaper, and more efficiently. And we've got really good grounding in now how to do that. This is my last slide. It just is so important to say that SMLL is part of the wider CAM testbed community. And we're very, very proud to be part of that and to be working with Zenzik, who are ensuring interoperability between the testbeds. So together as a team, we offer a service on behalf of the UK, which we think is second to none. Thank you very much for listening. My name is Richard Kewarden, and if you want more information, please visit smartmobility.co.uk. London.